Anywhere you meet, guaranteed to go
I like
down.
the way you grind with that booty on me.
It's going down.
Throw it down while you looking lonely.
It's going down.
Knock around and it's all on me.
Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down. Meet me in the club
With that booty on me.
It's going down.
Throw it down while you looking lonely.
It's going down.
Knock around and it's all on me.
Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down. Meet me in the Meet me in the Meet me in the It's going down. Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down. Meet me in the club. Meet me in the Meet me in the It's going down. Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down.
Okay, she headed to the dance floor and she slowly started popping it. Something like my wrist piece, everybody got to watching it. Girl, you got that secret treasure, I'm gon' put a lock on it. Don't care what they say, I would be stupid if we not on this. Heard you got that sticky. Let's go and take 9 shots, we'll just call it 50. And I gonna lick it till I hickey. Had that river running, keep you running till you empty.
Bang, 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 bang.
Oh, you look so sweet. What you work your palace, look at your physique. Girl, you are a beauty, well, I am a beast. They must have been tripping till I left me off a leash. I like the way you grind with that booty on me.
It's going down.
Throw it down while you looking lonely.
It's going down.
Knock around and it's all on me.
Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down. Meet me in the club.
With that booty on me.
It's going down.
Throw it down while you looking lonely.
It's going down.
Knock around and it's all on me.
Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down. Meet me in the Meet me in the Meet me in the It's going down. Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down. Meet me in the
What's going on, Jets Nation? CJ the Painkiller King Simone here, and you are watching Jets Guru.
It's going
Now,
down.
give it up for your host, Mr. Daniel Smith!
What is going on, everybody out there? What is going on, New York Jet fans and Jet Guru fans everywhere? Appreciate all your support each and every week as we get so much closer to watching the New York Jets play football. I'm super excited. This offseason has been great for the New York Jets, like we've detailed in all the episodes. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better offseason for a team that's honestly rebuilding their image. And after going what the Jets had to go through with Adam Gase and just pretty much almost the last 10 years with this team, it's good to see some professionalism being held. It's good to see that they are hiring and they are bringing in players to fit a scheme and to fit an organization that everyone is in agreement with, not just one person or not just an idea of what it could be. It's a whole organization that believes in one common goal, as it seems. The only problem I have with the New York Jets, and it's a growing problem, and many feel that it's not a concern at all, is that it's starting to be that the Jets don't pay their players, and the Jets don't pay players that perform for them. And it seems that it keeps coming up, and you see this happening with Marcus Maye. Now, obviously, that's going to be the talking point for most of the show because that is the newest headline that's out there. If you're sick and tired of hearing about the Marcus Maye chatter, I can't stop you from leaving, but I hope you would really stay and hear all sides and arguments before leaving. But listen, Marcus Maye is 28 years old. Will be 29 years old at the completion of this upcoming season, okay? He, by and far, was the best New York Jet that was on the field consistently each and every week, only missing, I think, a snap or two, something like that. Marcus Maye has increased his PFF each and every year. I mean, his stats, his efficiency as a player, because people say, well, PFF is bogus. No, it's not. What PFF is it shows the intricacies within the statistics. People wake up. That is what these places do. And what it is showing, much like it shows for Moses and like it shows for many players across the league who are good players, is that each and every year that they step out onto the football field, they perform at a higher rate. And that's what you're seeing with Marcus Maye. It starts with him. He is coming out and he is performing at a very high level. And it increased each and every year. Soon as Jamal Adams leaves, it's no wonder why Marcus Maye had his best year, because he was asked to do a little bit more and he was capable of doing it. He had more snaps in his career at slot. He had more snaps in the box than he's had in his entire career, and still had the best grade of his entire career. And so I have to give Marcus Maye a tremendous amount of credit. I mean, I really, really do. He's a quiet dude. He never complains. Even going into last year, you didn't hear too many reports about Marcus Maye. He played the good soldier, and often when players play the good soldier, they often fail to get the money that they want. And we somehow start to chip away at who that player is. And I don't think that's very fair to a lot of players, especially guys like Marcus Maye, who have been very good team players, who was voted an MVP by his organization. And he put the best tape that you could possibly put up last year. He put up for his New York Jets, who were struggling, for a team that was constantly throwing their defense out onto the field. When asked to do anything, he was able to come up and do it for the New York Jets. And he was tested many times, and he still came up and did the right thing. How could you say that you're building a successful organization if you're not paying your young players to perform? Now, I can understand someone like Jamal Adams, because Jamal Adams is going around talking to every newspaper and blah, 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 and this and that. So we can understand that. We could totally understand them having, at this point, we're going to have to let Jamal go. He's just said too much. He's done too much at this point. And the compensation for Jamal Adams is also there. And also we have Marcus Maye here, right? I'm sorry, but I don't know how many of you guys remember how bad the New York Jets were in 2016 with Gilchrist and Pryor back there. And I don't understand why people who know that we play in a passing league, well, the Jets, we know, but the Jets play in a passing league, why you would want to strip your safeties down, why you would want to throw Ashton Davis into a starting role where he didn't show to me that he's ready to go over and take that yet. So you want to have Joyner and Ashton Davis with an already green secondary, with an already green outside linebacking core. That is what we want to do. We want to get rid of Marcus Maye. You don't want to pay players who play well. You draft them and they pay well. It's not a good look for the New York Jets. It's not a good look for free agents coming over who are in that 24-year-old range. You say, hey, I might want to stay here with the New York Jets, but when I'm 27, 28, are they just going to throw me away? Am I part of this organization, or am I going to, again, use the Jets as a cash stop or a place to pick up a contract but not really be in and locked in? Because this organization has proven that they can't keep or hold on to any type of success very long. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they don't reward their players. And people call it a trap. I don't see it as a trap. You eventually have to pay somebody. Why not pay somebody who's done the right thing within your organization? And we're not talking about something that's going to break the bank. Hey, if Marcus Maye wants to get paid $20 million a year, then the Jets can tag him and pass. And I understand that. But that's not the reports that are coming out. The reports that are coming out are that the Jets offered him a contract that's lower than the tag that's even out there. I didn't see any reports of any disputed contract numbers. And so I'm going to assume until the Jets come out and dispute and say, we never put $8.5 million in front of Marcus Maye, I'm just going to assume that that was the contract that's put out there. The agent was okay with it. The Maye camp didn't seem to dispute any of the reports that were put out there. And I'm sorry, $8.5 million is disrespect to somebody like Marcus Maye. Now, you could say that the Jets' plan doesn't include a safety that makes $10.5 million for the next 3 years or plus. Fine. I will say that if that's what the Jets want to do, that's absolutely fine. But then this poses a couple questions that I think that we should look into and I think that we should talk about. And one of them is if you knew that Marcus Maye wasn't going to accept an $8.5 million contract 2-3 years ago, The talent that he displayed wasn't just displayed last year like people want to say in the chats. He's been a good safety his whole career, only missing 6 games in his entire career. And if you look at his snap share, the last 2, 3 years, 4 years of his career, besides the 1 year that he had the injury, he's there and he's playing at a high level. And he's playing at a high level for a young player, and he's doing a lot. And he has a lot of responsibility considering that Jamal Adams was up there at the front playing linebacker, and he was out there playing safety, actually playing the position that he was drafted at. It's just really mind-boggling to me when I look at that. And I see a player like Marcus Maye. Well, then, hey, why didn't you trade Marcus Maye last year? I mean, you knew that he was going to be a contract discussion going into this offseason. If you didn't feel that Marcus Maye was worth $8.5, $10.5, $11 million, whatever the price is for Marcus Maye, if you didn't think that you're going to pay that, because you had to assume the number was going to be around there, because I posed the question on the Jets chat when I dropped the article on Marcus Maye that I wrote. Look at the safeties that make $8.5 million in this league. Look at them. Go on sportstrack.com, look at the safety position, and look at what safeties get paid about $7-8 million. And don't even tell me Marcus Maye isn't better than most of those guys, if not all of them. Marcus Maye is placed exactly where he should be as far as his contract is concerned, as far as his play is concerned, as far as his age is concerned. You throw a 3-year contract at Marcus Maye, he's 32 years old at the end of that. There is no sign that Marcus Maye's skill is declining at all. And the position that he plays, he doesn't play because he's some freak athlete safety. He's a good athlete with exceptional skills at the position, who has good footwork, good hand techniques, and he has the ability to make an exceptional play. And we've seen this more than a few times from Marcus Maye on interceptions and pass deflections. And he could play up in the box, and he could do all the things that you want. So if you didn't think that you were going to you go into this offseason thinking he's going to take that? No. That's not what you thought. What you thought was, I'm going to tag him, and then I'm going to probably tag him again if he has a really outstanding season. That's what the Jets thought. And listen, from an organizational standpoint, I can't argue with it. I mean, you were within your right to tag Marcus Maye, and, obviously he's not going to complain and hold out, I don't believe, so he signed it. But you start to become that team, and some people don't think that's important. They don't think that it's important that the players that you draft that perform well for you, you don't reward them. There's plenty of players in the league that get second contracts from their teams and play well. The whole trap thing is scared people, scared New York Jet fans that have seen things happen in the past with completely different organizations, with completely different people, with completely different players in a completely different time. We always say, well, if a guy's drafted from a school, it's not the same quarterback, it's not the same coach. But we're going to compare and say, well, if the Jets give a player a second contract, that he's going to play bad all of a sudden, that you're going to fall into the trap. I mean, that argument could be dispelled as well, couldn't it? I believe so. So the same way that you take one away, I take away on the other side. But that's not what it boils down to. You know that Marcus Maye is worth the money that his agent is requesting per what safeties get paid, per what he has done on the field. There's no argument about that. You may say that doesn't fit into the Jets' plans, and that's fine. And I could be in agreement with that, but that's not what the Jets have been saying. The Jets have been saying that they want to retain the services of Marcus Maye and bring him back. But what they want to pay him definitely doesn't say they want to return the services and bring him back. What it's saying is we don't value what you put on the field. We want to undercut, actually, what you make compared to everyone else who plays your same position. So while people like Jamal Adams and this guy and that guy and whoever you want to say gets paid, because Marcus Maye is a top 10 safety, and you cannot debate me on that. Right now, Marcus Maye is a top 10 safety in this league. Could even say top 6, top 7. Definitely. Can't even debate me on it. The metrics will tell you otherwise. The stats will tell you otherwise. What I see with my eyes will tell you otherwise. Imagine if Marcus Maye had complementary play with him and corners that can actually lock down, not super young guys who are green and barely have NFL snaps under their belt. Imagine even more what he can do. He's out there bare bones, guys, and he's playing his butt off. And he's playing his butt off for you. And all I'm seeing is a lot of disrespect for Marcus Maye. If you don't think he's part of this plan at that price, that's one thing. But don't start chipping away at Marcus Maye and who he is as a player, what he's accomplished as a New York Jet, especially the type of hype and attention that was in front of him when he was the one that was really putting in the big time safety work, but no one was giving him any credit. And the one time that Marcus Maye shows out when Jamal Adams isn't gone, we're chipping away at who he is as an NFL player and what type of leader he is and what type of person and all this other stuff that I've seen here. Makes no sense, and it's really disrespectful. And I'm not going to have any of it on my page. I'll tell you that. You could say what you want, but I'm not going to disrespect somebody who puts forth the effort that I've seen Marcus Maye put forth. This guy deserves to get paid. And if you want to trade him, go ahead and trade him. But he deserves the money that his agent is asking for per what people who do what he does gets paid for the talent level and the production that he puts out onto the field. If the Jets feel that they don't want to pay a safety, whatever that price is, then move him. But again, he should have been done earlier then. You had time to move Marcus where he had years on his contract, where you could have benefited more and got more from Marcus Maye, because you knew, looking at the numbers, that you were going to have to pay him more than what you just offered him at the reduced cut. So all you did was just possibly alienate a leader and a player on the field that has to play for you for a full year. And then what happens if Marcus has an outstanding year? Then there's just too much disconnect. Then there's another issue that you have to deal with. And then especially if you tag them. So the way I look at it is that I just think it was handled wrong. I think when we look back at this, I think that this deal should have been done last year for Marcus Maye, and then he would have been a year younger coming out of it on the back end. And you would have actually probably had Marcus at a reduced rate at a reduced rate around the rate that you wanted him at if you would have signed him 2 years ago thinking ahead, or even signed him last year. It would have been a lot cheaper, but you didn't, and you waited and you waited and you waited and you let him go all the way through. So, and it has nothing to do with the new defense. Listen, let me explain something to you guys. Marcus Maye can play in cover 2, he can play in cover 1, and he can play in any cover 3 coverage that is thrown out there. Marcus Maye has proven that he can play cover in this league. And there's just slight differences between the three, and he's not going to struggle at all in this defense. If he can play cover 1 and cover 2 and play with a box safety who's supposed to be somewhere in the vicinity with him, but he's being used as a linebacker for most of the time, and you could still do your job, I'm pretty sure that Marcus Maye is going to be able to play in some kind of cover 3 system that Robert Saleh and company is going to run with the New York Jets. So I have no doubt that's not an issue at all. His learning acumen, his skill set has never been in question. It's never, there's no, like, it's not, why would someone even offer that? Well, let's see how he does in the defense. This is a 5-year vet, man, that's played for multiple defensive coordinators. Multiple. And it's not about crying over a safety. It's about taking care of your own. Nobody wants to hear the rah-rah-rahs and then you don't back it up. You just keep it as a turnstile. And here's the difference, right? If this was the Baltimore Ravens, something that, me and Kevin have spoken about, and ultimately, I think that Joe wants the Jets to be. Baltimore had talent. When you let guys go, you have to have talent behind it. It would be different if we had 2 young safeties behind Marcus Maye, and it was like, you know what? We'll tag him and then we'll let him walk, right? But that's not what we have right now. And that's not guaranteed to know what we have. And you just create more discontent. You just show veterans you really don't care about them. And it all ties in with the look of the team. You think it doesn't matter, but it matters. When you speak to players, oh, I didn't want to go to that franchise, that organization. You hear it all the time, that we try to act like it doesn't matter. It matters when you have to relocate your whole family and you have to move somewhere to an organization that hasn't proven any type of success in the last 10 years. And you look at the mistakes that he already said. He made a mistake with Robbie Anderson. Well, yeah, we know you made a mistake with Robbie Anderson. Honestly, I'd rather have Robbie Anderson, in my personal opinion, with Corey Davis and more than Denzel Mims. And that's just my personal opinion on the matter. And the Jets would have had enough money to still get Davis and still have Robbie Anderson. And I think Joe knows that. Joe absolutely knows that. And he said so. He said that he made a mistake with Robbie. He absolutely did. And I don't want to see this continue for the New York Jets where they keep spinning this into a complete cycle where young veterans don't get the pay that they need. It's not a good look for your football team. It has nothing to do with crying about a player because obviously we don't know any of these people. These people are millionaires. They're going to be fine. They're going to take care of themselves. They're going to be all right. But strictly from a football perspective, why would you want the MVP, one of the leaders of your team, someone who just had the best year of his career, and you don't even give him a competitive offer? That's not a good look for the New York Jets, in my personal opinion. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Krista come in because I know Krista wants to talk about the Marcus Maye situation too. And so, Krista, tell me, what is your opinion on the Marcus Maye situation? What he means to the Jets, and do you think that ultimately the Jets should move on from him or actually sign him and bring him back?
Honestly, I've always been on the camp to sign Marcus Maye. I think when you look at a player like Marcus Maye and what he's done with the New York Jets, being how bad the New York Jets have been, I know he's not the flash of guy, but he's done everything that you asked him to do. And when Jamal Adams left, he did all the responsibilities. He was able to cover the back end. He was able to play free safety when needed. I think the Jets absolutely should retain him. I know a lot of people like to get on me because of his age. They like to say that he's 28 years old. But when we watch Marcus Maye, I don't see any of his game declining. He's still showing that he could be a very, very good safety in this league. And to your point of Pro Football Focus, they actually rated him, I saw somewhere, as the sixth best safety currently in the league. And I know a lot of fans like to knock that he's injury prone, but like you mentioned before, there has only been one season where he missed 10 games, and that was due to injury. Marcus Maye he's also a great leader on and off the field. And I'd like to have a guy like Marcus Maye because he has a lot of experience. And I think it's good to have that there, especially since we have a lot of inexperienced guys at cornerback, and we don't have that much experience at safety really either. I think it's important to keep a guy like him. I think right now, in my personal opinion, I think the Jets are banking too much on the guys that they have now. They're banking on the guys that they drafted later in the draft that can play versatile roles, but I want to keep my guy that I know could play day in and day out. I like the guy that knows the system well and can teach the young guys. And I think what the Jets have done, I like Joe Douglas, don't get me wrong, but I do not like what he's done so far with Marcus Maye. I feel this is something he should have signed. I feel like we need to reward our players, like you mentioned, because free agents are watching. I think a lot of people are snake bitten because I know the Jets have had to pay the wrong players. We've seen it with Muhammad Wilkerson and so on. But when you look at Marcus Maye, he's a guy that he does everything that you ask him to and more. And I think for me, that showed Marcus Maye what he is as a true person is when you saw Greg Williams do that all blitz, and we lost the Raiders game. Say what you want. I know we all wanted Trevor Lawrence and all that came, but the first person that spoke out was Marcus Maye. And I think that speaks a lot because that showed that he really, really cares about this team. He cares about the New York Jets, and I think you need to keep someone like that. It shows the kind of person he is because even though we were losing, Marcus Maye still played in. He still gave his thoughts on what he felt. He still really, really cared when he could have laid down and died and quit. But Marcus Maye didn't quit. He still came and he still produced. And I know that he's, like I mentioned, he's not a flashy guy like Jamal Adams. He may not have like the sacks that you want him to have, but he does his job well, and I think that's the most important part. And I think the Jets have. I'm sorry, as much as I like Joe Douglas, I don't agree with Marcus May playing on a tag. And I know there's a whole thing. Well, let's see how Marcus May does with Salah's defense. But like you mentioned before, what if Marcus May plays outstanding and he's playing on a tag? I think at that point you might have a guy that's like, oh man, I want to still be a Jet, but deep down he might feel disrespected that at that point, and I just don't like that for Marcus May. I don't like the situation that the Jets have put him in playing in his tag. I don't like the fact that we might have to lose him after a tag. I don't want to think about possibly trading one of our good players that we have on defense, and possibly we know one of our best defensive players, second best defensive players. I know Quentin Williams is number one. Not saying that because I'm an Alabama fan, but Marcus May is a close number two. And New York Jets, I just wish you would pay him before the deadline. That's how I really feel. I don't like how the situation is going, honestly.
No, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you 100%. And I think you look at someone like Marcus May, and he fits all of the characteristics that you want as a player for the New York Jets. He shows toughness, he shows versatility. He's quiet. He doesn't push. He's a quiet leader who goes out there and he speaks with his play. Yet, fans all of a sudden want to start chopping down his resume. And I just think it's just not the way to go. And at the same time, people act as if you're not supposed to have veterans on a team. And to me, he's a young vet, but he's not 32 yet. He's 28. No. He's going to be 29 at season's end. He will be 30 at another season's end. I mean, you're talking about him playing on a 3-year deal, maybe a 4-year deal where it could be cut. He could be cut if he plays that bad, really. They could word it in such a way in the contract where at the end they can get away from him without getting really in big trouble organizationally. They could front load the contract and pay him in his most productive years. We all know that there's things that could be done. We all know, we've looked at the Jets' money and the contract structures and how green and young their contracts are, that they could go out there and they could pay Marcus May, and it's not going to stop them from bringing in an impact player next year to help this team if need be. So I don't understand. Like, people are just reactionary, rushing to saying things and not really looking at the numbers, not really looking at the detail in between, and really bringing forth an honest argument, because the Jets can bring them back contractually and still build this football team up. Marcus's contract is not going to be paid the same as Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams was asking for money that would be competitive to an offensive player's type of pay, and that is not what Marcus is asking for. And so I think people are getting ahead of themselves, and they're not really looking at the full picture, and they're not looking at the Jets roster, and they're not looking at how important it is to have a veteran at that position, especially one with the leadership as Marcus May has and the talent that Marcus May has. So I think when you look at it overall, I'm in agreement with you too. I don't think it's right to constantly make players play on tags. I don't think that's structurally how you want your young players to perform. Again, you're going to run into a problem one day if you keep working on this strategy, or teams keep working on this strategy, where a player is going to say, nope, I'm good. I'm just going to move on to another team because you didn't believe and trust in me. And you're going to start seeing stuff like that. And I just hope it doesn't happen to the New York Jets with one of their players moving forward, because it's just that the Jets have had bad player relations when it's come to injuries and when it's come to contracts for quite a bit of time now. And it's just not a good look. And it's not a good way to, again, Marcus has what are you waiting for? This could have been done, and you could have had him at a cheaper price. Now he goes out there, he has a great season next year. And honestly, I'm thinking statistically, it may be a little bit less, but the Jets should be a better team. I mean, he should see less of the field because the offense should be a lot better than what it was last year. So the time of possession is going to be a lot different. And so the defense shouldn't be out there as long. They should be a better football team schematically. So I expect the front to really go up there and cause a little bit of damage. You have nice rotation at the line. And so I don't think Marcus is going to have to work so much for his stats as much as he did. And so I think he's going to have a really, really good year because technically he's a sound player. So he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And so when quarterbacks throw his way, he's going to be in the vicinity more times than not. And more times than not, he's going to make a play. And so I think you're going to probably see Marcus, if he's healthy, he's going to put together another top 10, probably safety season. I expect him to. And he's going to require even more money at that point. And then once it gets to that, Krista, then he's gone, because then it's like, and then that's not a good look for the Jets. And then you have to lose a player like that in a fashion like that. And it just doesn't look good for the ball club when this could have been taken care of realistically last year at some point for a cheaper rate. And you could have been washed your hands of it, of a quiet player who's been nothing but worked hard. But the Jets decided that wasn't the way that they wanted to go. But I really, really appreciate all your words on that. And we will see you next week, Krista. So, guys, what say you? Right? I've heard some opinions all over the New York Jet wire, all over the place. But what do you guys say? Because, I'm going to come into the comments and respond to you guys tomorrow when I come back. And listen, I try to get to as many responses as I can. Sometimes there's a lot of messages. It takes me a few days with all the other things that I'm doing. And so, but I always try to get back to you, like your messages, say hi the best that I can. I am working on some different things as far as locations and what I can do. But listen, I'm going to work with the best that I have, to be, there's nothing I could do about that. But I am working on something that actually a Jet fan sent to me called Crisp, which is something where I guess it mutes the background sounds of some of the noises and things like that. And so I'm going to try that out. If you guys have any suggestions, please throw them on me if you got one out there. But yeah, I don't get paid for this, guys. I'm not sponsored or anything. So it's really hard. I really try to shuffle and do the best that I can. JR, our producer, he doesn't get paid. He does this all in his free time. And actually within 15 minutes, he has to go run and do something important. And he's got a family, and Chris has got a family and a job, and Ramon and everybody, and Kevin. And so remember that, when you guys do see an article and you call it bogus or you say this guy sucks or whatever, remember that we're putting in the work and the time and the effort to put together a program for you Jet fans and for us to have fun, to do some different things and hopefully grow and turn this into something special and really turn it into a success story. I'm trying to get some press passes, to try to get you guys some more coverage and to ask questions and to take pictures and videos of the things that you guys want to see, not just the same old stuff that you hear each and every day through interviews and the same PC questions. We don't want to do drama. We want to talk more factual based things, more statistics, more of the actual the chunk of what goes on and not be Manish Mehta and what the things that he's done and said. But at the same time, we don't have a lot of financial support or support to put us into a major wire. And so we're doing everything on the grind here. And so give us a little bit of credit. Don't beat each other down. We're all Jet fans rooting for the same thing. We just have differences of opinions. It's nothing personal. I don't have anything against Marcus Maye or any of these people. I'm just out here, evaluating, looking at what's in front of me and trying to put together something for my viewers who really do appreciate my opinion. And I can't do it without you. You guys are amazing. The numbers, I can't ask for better numbers. We're in the off season. You guys are still coming and watching me. And so much love and respect for real. And if you guys want to listen to the audio show, you guys can't make the show every Thursday. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts, just type in Jets Guru and you'll find us. And me and Kevin will be doing an episode this weekend talking about some different things and getting our perspective together, because when me and Kevin link up, it's a totally different thing. So we're trying to put together a more than what you see out there. There's not a lot sometimes in the off season, and people like us are trying to fill the void for you guys. And I hope that you guys enjoy what we're doing, and I'm not going to stop doing this. I'm going to keep evolving, and whoever wants to ride with me right now. I'm telling you, I'm somebody that's not going to give up. So we're going to keep this Jets train moving, and we're going to training camp. So listen, I'll be there I'll be there the 31st. I'll be there the 4th. And I'll be there the 7th. And so there's a couple opportunities there to come talk with me about the Jets, hang out. I'm very approachable. If you see me out there, just say, hey, Dan, Guru, whatever you want to call me. I don't care. Just don't call me any bad words. I'm not going to respond. And that's not nice. Right. But if you see me out there, say hi. I will talk about the Jets. I'll hang out. That's all I want to do is interact with my fans and just, have a good time and talk Jets and put together a good program for you guys. But I'm going to be putting together some programs out there, hopefully get some video, hopefully get some good audio for you guys, for the guys that can't make it. We got Jet fans all over the world, guys. We got people in Germany that follow us, in Spain, all over the place, England that watch the New York Jets. And so we want to give them a little bit of taste of the gangrene, right? Because if we can't do it, right, no one's going to do it, right? The big guys don't care about us, right? So we're trying to grind and do our thing. So thank you very much for tuning in. As always, take care of yourself. Be safe. And please enjoy this final Jets vintage highlight that producer JR puts together. Give JR a hand right now. Dude does 2 shows. He works. He produces other things. He puts a car together. He's bowling. He's doing all sorts of stuff out there and raising his family. So shout out to the New York Jets Guru producer. And you guys have a good night. JETS. Jets, Jets, Jets.
Last game ever played at the old Meadowlands Stadium, the Jets delivered a performance for the ages.
Way to play our team! Way to play our team! Now let's go ahead and dump these boys! Whatever it takes! Whatever it takes! We need this game!
Brad Smith set to take the direct snap, and he does. Rolling to his right, cuts it upfield. He's loose at the 50, at the 40 of the Bengals, down to the 30, inside the 20, at the 10, dragging tacklers, down at the 1-yard line. Brad Smith out of the Wildcat. Smith runs the option right with Sean Green, keeps it, cuts it back up inside. Breaks a tackle at the 30. There he goes to the 20, at the 10, 5, touchdown. Sanchez takes the snap, wide receiver hitch, caught by Kotri at the 9, cuts it to the 5, at the goal line. He breaks the plane. Touchdown, Jets.
What looked impossible just 6 weeks earlier was now undeniable. The ground and pound Jets had scratched and clawed their way into the playoffs.
Being chased, he'll be sacked, fumbles the ball again. It's picked up by Jamal Westerman, and the Jets will preserve the shutout. The celebration is on.